Mahesh Verma of the BJP, Huda Zariwala, who's been tracking this closely, Javed Ansari, the senior journalist, the senior editor, and Kapil Madan, political analyst and an advocate in the Supreme Court. Kapil, to you first, Kapil Madan, as I understand it, that the affidavit filed by the Enforcement Directorate yesterday will now be looked at, right? So that will be separate, and while Kejriwal will be out, whether this evening or tomorrow, we'll figure that out, but the second part of this hearing will continue today on the basis of the affidavit filed by the ED late last night. Is that right?
So yes, so Vishnu, let's understand how does and what is interim bail. Interim bail is passed during the pendency of the main bail petition because Kejriwal's bail petition has not been finally decided by the court. It will be finally decided by the court. The court will look into all the legal arguments raised by Mr. Kejriwal and the reply of the ED and the other agencies. And in fact, the affidavit which the ED has filed today, all the material will be looked into in the right perspective, and then a final decision will come. This is only an interim bail, which is usually passed by the courts, considering the peculiar facts and circumstances of the case. And in this case, the court, what weighed down with the court was that here is a person who is the sitting chief minister, who is behind bars, and elections in Delhi are around the corner. So I think this is what weighed it with the Supreme Court, along with the fact that the initial charge sheet was filed way back in 2022, and the ED took almost 1.5 years to arrest Mr. Kejriwal. So that reflects little poorly on ED, and also the arrest have happened on the basis of an approver statement that was also given belatedly. Okay. So I think these are all the factors which the court considered, and the prime one being that he is the sitting chief minister and he had to campaign. This is, one of a kind of an order. We don't have such precedents in the past. But
no, that's quite right. In fact, the interesting thing is that Hemant Soren, the former chief minister of Jharkhand, has not been given immediate relief by the Supreme Court today. Obviously, a very different case, but also allegations of corruption in that case. We'll talk about that perhaps later on. Javed Ansari, politically, what is the significance of Kejriwal getting out now?
Well, it's a big shot in the arm for the Aam Aadmi Party, particularly in Delhi, and overall the India alliance. Conventional wisdom will have it that those who are seen as being victims or those who are seen as being victimized by the state often get a lot of sympathy. So he will generate a lot of buzz, and there'll be, I suspect there will be a tremendous upturn, a tremendous momentum generated by him in favor of his party and the alliance.
Mahesh Verma, is that your concern, that politically this doesn't play out for the NDA at all? We can debate the merits of the legal case, but politically, how does the BJP see this?
सबसे पहले तो विष्णु जी, जिस प्रकार से आज ये प्रोपगेट किया जा रहा है, जिस प्रकार से सुप्रीम कोर्ट के क्रेडेंशियल को कमजोर करने की बात की जा रही है, मुझे सबसे पहले तो उसी पे आपत्ति है। ये क्या मतलब बनता है अगर इंटरिम बेल आपको मिल गया, वो कोई मेरिट पे थोड़ी मिला है, आखिर में उसका कोई आधार आप बता के। और इसी प्रकार से इन लोगों ने आज से 4 दिन से पहले से ये कहना शुरू कर दिए थे कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट से हमें जमानत मिल रही है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट से हमें जमानत मिल रही है और हमारा शेर बाहर आएगा। इस तरह की बातों को फैला के और इस तरह से बातों को कह के और इस तरह से प्रोपगेट करके, ये देश जो है प्रोपगंडा के जरिए अब राजनीति होगी क्या? आप कभी एक तरफ कोई आके कह देता है कि मैं तो 30 लाख जॉब देने जा रहा हूं। एक अभी हमारे कोई ट्विटर है पे अभी मैं देख रहा था कि राहुल गांधी से कोई सवाल कर रहा है कि भाई आपको मैं 1 करोड़ रुपया देने के लिए तैयार हूं, आप मुझे बाइफरकेट करके बता दो कि 30 लाख जॉब कैसे दे दोगे। अब आज ये इंटरिम बेल मिल रहा है।
महेश जी, मैं सिर्फ आपसे ये पूछ रहा हूं कि इंटरिम जमानत मिल गया है अरविंद केजरीवाल को, पॉलिटिकली बीजेपी के लिए इसका नतीजा क्या हो सकता है?
देखिए, मैं आपको स्पष्ट कर दूं, इसका नतीजा ये होगा कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी जो है अब उस चीज को जो अनावश्यक रूप से हम कहीं ये समझ रहे थे कि भाई कोर्ट के अंदर जो है कोई मामला सब जुडिस है और उसके ऊपर हम ज्यादा कुछ नहीं बोल पा रहे। स्वाभाविक है, ईडी ने जितनी बातें कही है केजरीवाल के खिलाफ, ये कंस्पिरेटर थे, ये सरकारी खजाने पे इन्होंने चोट पहुंचाया, इन्होंने 11,000 करोड़ से ऊपर का जो है शराब का घोटाले में इन्होंने नुकसान किया ट्रेजरी का, जनता के पैसे का नुकसान किया। एक ऐसा मुख्यमंत्री जो भ्रष्टाचार के खत्म करने के नाम पर आके और इस तरह का भ्रष्टाचार किया, उस व्यक्ति को आज अगर कहीं इंटरिम जमानत 1 जून तक मिल गई और उसके ऊपर जश्न मनाया जाए और उसको ये कहा जाए कि देखिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने क्या कमाल का जो है ऑर्डर दिया है, क्या कमाल का आदेश दिया है, अब तो हम तो एकदम क्लीन चिट दे दिया सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने। क्या मजाक है, इन्होंने सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश को मजाक बना दिया। इसी तरह से राहुल गांधी कभी इसी तरह के प्रत्यय लेकर और इसी आड़ में जो है वो क्या क्या भूल गए थे। याद करिए राफेल को लेकर कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो है देश के सरकार को, केंद्र सरकार को झूठा करार दिया है। तो इस तरह की चीजों को कम से कम सुप्रीम कोर्ट को जो है इस पे सुमोटो लेके और इस पे जो है इन लोगों को कम से कम इस तरह की ये प्रोपगंडा ना करें, इस तरह के पॉलिटिकल कोई कारगुजारी और बाजीगरी।
पर महेश जी, ये ऑर्डर को हमें देखना पड़ेगा। पर संजय सिंह के केस के अनुसार शायद ये ऑर्डर मतलब बेस्ड होगा, और अगर ये बात अगर ये बनता है, अगर ये होता है, तो शायद अरविंद केजरीवाल इस केस के बारे में कुछ कह नहीं पाएंगे। तो शायद वही होगा, but that's what we need to wait and see, because that's what the judge
ये
has
तो
said.
लॉ ब्रेकर है ना, ये तो लॉ ब्रेकर है।
Okay, Mahesh ji, 1 second, let me get a reaction. Right.
ये तो लॉ ब्रेकर है।
नहीं, Mahesh ji, half a second, let's get a reaction from Huda Jariwala. Irrespective of whether Arvind Kejriwal can talk about the case or not, if he can't talk about the case, he cannot, because that would be violating a Supreme Court law. Just the fact that he's present, the fact that we've got opposition leaders tweeting about him, the fact that they might actually come together in rallies, etc., do you see this going beyond the Aam Aadmi Party as being a shot for the India Alliance?
Well, good afternoon. First of all, I'm sorry I cannot conceal my happiness. I couldn't be more happier. This obviously comes as a very big win for Aam Aadmi Party, even though it is an interim bail for a couple of days for the sole purpose of campaigning. This indeed also restores our faith in democracy, the faith of the Janta in Supreme Court itself, because let us be clear about one thing, that Arvind Kejriwal ji is not a hardcore criminal per se. He has been granted bail on the fact that there was nothing, no name was named in any of the previous statements of the witnesses who later turned approvers. So far, his name has not been named on the charge sheet. Again, we don't even know what the, what the allegations on the charge sheet would be. We know that the ED has been on a wild witch hunt for way too long now, raining hell on so many leaders of the Aam Aadmi Party. Just how the ED couldn't oppose the bail of Sanjay Singh ji. There was obviously no substantial reason to really oppose this interim bail of Arvind Kejriwal ji as well. He will be a star campaigner. He's obviously a big face of the India Gathbandhan, the India bloc. So this obviously will give a huge boost, not just to the Aam Aadmi Party, but to the entire cause of the India Gathbandhan and the, and every belief system that they go by. The Janta will obviously, because half of the country, about half, is still yet to vote in the remaining phases of the election, and with a news as big and phenomenal as him, Arvind Kejriwal ji, being released on interim bail, the voters, voting pattern may also be influenced in a positive way for the India bloc, the India Gathbandhan. So definitely, regardless of what the BJP is going to say, regardless of what anybody at this point is going to say, this is in fact a huge victory, a cause to celebrate for the Aam Aadmi Party.
All right, okay, Huda, hold your thoughts over there. I want to go back to Kapil Madan one more time. Kapil, it's interesting what Justice Khanna has said on the argument that by the Solicitor General that I could not find any precedent on a person being released for campaigning. Justice Khanna said, let's not put it into a simple straitjacket like that. We are passing the order. And then he added, right, I don't know if it's in addition to that statement or it came just a few minutes later, we will try and conclude arguments next week. We will try and pronounce the judgment if possible. So essentially, this is not something which might actually linger for a long period of time. If you've already got the judge saying that we'll conclude arguments and try and pronounce the judgment, this could actually be well before the election results are out. I think you're on mute, Kapil.
So Vishnu, in that case also, the interim order will still say, because Supreme Court, while finally deciding the order, there could be two possibilities. The Supreme Court may allow the petition. In that situation, the interim order merges with the final order and Kejriwal will be out, at least in this case, forever. However, if the Honorable Supreme Court dismisses the petition finally, But Supreme Court still, because Supreme Court has passed an order granting interim bail till 2nd of June, in that situation, Supreme Court will clarify once again that Kejriwal will need to surrender post on 2nd of June, as per the interim order.
All right, interesting developments over there. I think the statement by Justice Khanna that we'll try and conclude arguments next week. We will try and pronounce the judgment if possible.